Bloop, 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 bloop.
The
Man, that's such a satisfying sound.
It is. I
What?
love
Blue, blue,
listening to
blue?
it.
Yeah. Next time you do the summary, your summary can just be in a blues. I'm Bleh. Welcome to the Animorphs Book Club, and I'm the War Prince of the book club. Be natural.
I'm Batter.
I'm Mustard.
I'm Stir.
I like how you say that exactly the same tone of voice every time.
Yeah, you do.
Who, me?
It's a good tone of voice too. Yeah.
I'm Stir.
Oh, me?
I'm Stir.
That's just how I talk, man.
I'm Stir.
I'm Stir.
Welcome to the Animorphs Book Club. This is the book club where we talk about the Animorphs books, but only after we've read them. I'm a war prince because I've read all the Animorphs books when I was 12, and these are my friends. These are my Arith, and they haven't read the Animorphs books. When they didn't read it when they were 12, they're reading it now with me, and we're on book 11, The Forgotten. Do I need to say anything else for the intro?
No, that's good.
Okay, cool. All right. I think this book has a great title because
Yeah, I love this title. It's so poignant and sad and epic.
I was gonna say this book has a great title because I forgot this book existed until like 2 books ago.
This book is pretty epic, though. I find it seems pretty unforgettable to me.
You.
Except for the fact that the ending kind of negates everything that happens in the book.
Yes,
So maybe like
exactly. I was like loving this book. Like I was like, wow, how did I forget this book? I was loving it. I was like, this is the way it's written is epic. It's really cool. I just like it's like a Call of the Wild kind of thing, where it's just like, man, nature is cruel, and the odds really seem against you. But then at the end really took it down a lot.
Oh, no, the end is the
Yeah.
reason I thumbs up.
Are you freaking? What's
Are
wrong
you
with
freaking
you?
kidding me?
No, I'm serious.
Is this just your gimmick now that you have all the wrong opinions?
No,
So you liked it? You liked it when I meticulously wrote down everybody's morphs for the books, and then I had to go in and erase it all because none of it even freaking mattered.
What?
I've been recording everybody's morphs in our Discord, and I went and wrote down like Jaguar and Spider Monkey for everybody, but then I had to just go and like undo all that because none of it mattered. Because at the end of the book, they were like, "Oh, none of that."
Wait! Why don't I do the summary right now?
Oh yeah, okay,
And then everything will be cleared up.
yes.
Okay. Summary of the Forgotten. Jake keeps having weird flashes to where he's suddenly in the rainforest. In one, he's a monkey. In another, he's being shot at with a spear. And in a third, he's listening to Marco complain about Axe being sexy. But he decides to shake them off as Tobias has some important news for the Animorphs. Tobias takes them in Birdmorph to a supermarket which has a wall missing and some skid marks outside. They see some people who they figure are controllers walking around and decide that the Yeerks must be up to something. Later that night, they morph into flies to go check it out. Jake has a really bad feeling about this mission but shakes it off. As flies, they have to dodge raindrops and avoid cars on the highway, but they make it through. In the store, they find out that a new experimental bug fighter had crashed into the store the previous night, and the Yeerks are trying to fix it. They decide to steal the bug fighter and fly into the White House lawn to expose the alien invasion. Tobias creates a distraction while they go into the bug fighter and morph out, but he can't escape the way he came in, so he hops on the bug fighter with them. Axe flies the ship out through the hole in the wall and up into space while Jake tests out the weapons. They accidentally come to the Blade ship and decide to try and shoot it before going to the White House. However, the two ships shoot each other at the same time and the Dracon beams hit each other. There is a bright white light and suddenly both ships are crashing into the atmosphere. Luckily, everyone makes it out of the crash alive and Tobias regroups them together. They are in some sort of rainforest. Cassie figures that they are in South America but is worried because it's the daytime whereas the crash happened during the night. Axe says this is probably because the Dracon beam collision formed a Serial rip, which is a hole in space-time, and they have traveled in time, but he doesn't know to when. He only knows what time of day it is. Also, he forgot most of what he knows about Sario rips because he wasn't paying attention in school the day they talked about it. While they're talking, Jake has a spear thrown at him, just like in the vision earlier. However, he can't dwell on it because Tobias warns the Animorphs about a group of Hork-Bajir coming their way. Jake tells Axe to take out a part of the bug fighter that will make it unable to fly so that the Hork-Bajir can't steal it. While Axe is doing this, the rest of them run away. Tobias sees Axe being chased by the Hork-Bajir and yells at Jake about it. Jake and Rachel morph into a tiger and a bear and go back to save Axe. They attack the Hork-Bajir but get separated in the process. Jake finds Rachel passed out on the ground all bloody and covered in flesh-eating ants. He uses some of Rachel's fur to lure some ants from another colony over and instigate a war with those attacking Rachel. This buys them enough time for Rachel to demorph and go jump in a stream to get the ants off, but she has to get it out again real quick because there are piranha in the water. Axe shows up morphed as a monkey. He has the computer chip that the Yeerks need to fly the bug fighter. Everyone else decides to morph monkeys as well, and Axe admits that the monkey he morphed was an attractive female. Marco starts complaining, and Jake finishes his sentence. Jake finally tells the rest of them about the flashes. Axe realizes that this may be a symptom of there being two Jakes on the planet at the same time. Therefore, they must have gone back to the day before. Axe says that the two Jakes, two Marcos, two Cassies, etc. will annihilate each other once they get back to the moment of the Sorry Rip. So they have until 8:54 p.m. to get rid of the time anomaly. They figure Visser 3 probably knows how to get home, so they decide to stow away in the Blade ship. They turn into monkeys and get shot at by some controllers but manage to escape. Axe wonders if they have to recreate the moment of the Saria Rip in order to get things back to normal. This would entail putting the computer chip back into the bug fighter so that they could fly it up and make the Dracon beams hit each other again. While they're taking a break, they have a run-in with some natives who recognize that the Hork-Bajir are monsters and decide to help the Animorphs, whom they believe are shape-shifting animal spirits. They take a nap. When Jake wakes up, a jaguar is sniffing him and he decides to acquire it. Everyone acquires it and it goes away. They morph into jaguars and go to the Blade ship. Visser 3 has had the bug fighter move to where the Blade ship is, which makes Jake uneasy. Jake is now having flashes back to earlier in the day. Axe speculates that the reason Jake is the only one having flashes is because Jake somehow erased the timeline they're in, and now everyone besides him is only a memory. Visser 3 morphs into a huge creature made out of a bunch of vines called a Lurdathak and catches everyone except Jake. He also gets the computer chip thing. The natives start attacking, and Jake turns into a monkey and gets a spear from one of them to stab Visser 3. However, he gets caught around the neck in the process. Jake wakes up back at home in the moment where they're about to go to the grocery store. No one else remembers about going to the jungle. He decides not to go forward with the mission. Later on, he tells Axe about what happened, and Axe reasons that the Saria Rip may have been mended when Jake died in the other timeline, clearing up the anomaly of them being in two places at once. The end.
That was a good summary. So is this the only book that has the time because it's time travel based, or
No, Be Natural said there's ones where they go back in time and become dinosaurs.
well, no, but this one has a time posted at the top of every page or chapter.
Oh yeah, that's the only one that's done. I wrote down the times at the beginning of all my notes in case they were important.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, this is exciting!" It's like something different because, like the last Jake book was like, I don't know, it seemed very different than the other ones, and I was like, "Oh, this is." It starts the very first words is like the time, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
It's like a
Yeah.
it's like a spy movie.
Whole new format.
I kind of assume that's like the rest of the books from now on we're gonna do that. Like, okay, so now every book starts with the time and hi, my name is blah blah blah.
It was every chapter, isn't it?
No, I didn't assume that. I assumed that there was going to be something weird going on.
I noted what I noticed was that the book starts at 1:22 p.m. and then once they as soon as they realize that they're back in time, the chapter says that it's 1:22 p.m. again.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really actually contribute anything, but oh well, but it was just kind of neat, I guess.
Yeah, it's important if you want to be like figuring out what's happening before they do.
This definitely was like helped me figure like this definitely I saw how the day went by and everything. I thought it was pretty cool to just like see how long everything took. Like towards the end of this book, he was like saying he'd gone like 24 hours without sleep because he time traveled back in time to earlier in the day. So listing the times definitely helped illustrate that. It was always the freaking afternoon. It never got to be the morning or late at night.
Yeah.
But overall, I think I'm gonna have to put this book below the Android. I like the writing in this book better than the Android. Just the fact that it ended and it was like, yeah, none of that mattered. I'm just
So you guys thought this was one of the best books? Because I wasn't like super thrilled by it at all.
I loved everything in this book except the ending.
Wait, so you guys didn't think it was metal how the book literally ends with Jake having his neck snapped and then nothing mattering? That's like cool.
Oh, no. Jake having his neck snapped was pretty metal. Nothing mattering was not metal. Jake screws up, but he doesn't like have any consequences for his actions.
No, but like the whole series, everyone, including myself, has been whining about Visser 3 is just every time they escape Visser 3 and there's never a chance of failure. In this one, they fail. All of them get killed and
No, they
eaten by
don't
Visser 3. That's cool.
because then the time magically fixes itself, and then they all get out.
It's not magic; it's science.
No, it literally was not explained. I was so confused at the ending.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, because there's two Jakes, if one of them dies, they snap back into one person, and the dead one's fine.
There's two Marcos and two Cassies and two Tobiases and two Rachels and two Axes.
Yeah, but they're fake.
How are they fake? Why are they less real than Jake?
Because Axe like explained it. I don't know why.
He didn't explain it.
Theory. It was just a
He just
theory.
said that they were all memories in Jake's head.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense. Is Jake? So does that mean Jake is like running around in the forest talking to nobody and then getting his neck snapped by nobody? Is that what happened?
No, it's an alternate reality.
I feel like this book would have ended like so much sooner if like Axe had paid attention in class, because then he would have been like, "Yo, Jake, you just need to kill yourself, because then you just fix the problem."
Well, no, but he said that he knew there was a possibility, but didn't want to say it. By the way, part of the reason I may be not thrilled with this book is because I was listening to the audiobook. I was doing it pretty fast, and I only have like 7 notes.
Are you sure you even really heard it?
Yeah, I know everything that happened.
Man, every time Mustard listens to an audiobook, Batter's like, "Our audiobooks, dude, you're dumb. I'm sure you don't."
Hey, I edited the podcast. I don't have time to also sit down.
Look,
and
if we
read.
need more time in between recording podcasts, we can have it.
No, I don't.
My first note is just something silly I thought of. Like in chapter 2, I think it is 1 or 2. It's chapter 2. It's definitely chapter 2. Act says that he's explaining the plot, and he says, "Oh, we were wandering through this abandoned construction site, and we were worried about axe murderers, but now we have other stuff to worry about." And I said, "Well, technically, Mr. 3 wants to murder Axe, so they're kind of axe murderers in a way." That was it.
That's a good note. My first note was I'm expecting because of the pattern that we have from like every single first scene. I was expecting Jake to morph into some animal to help him dance better or something.
This book had a good first scene. It was just
Yeah, the first scene is just
Except that Applegate was hating on square dancing for no reason.
no, it's just Jake doing that. The other characters like it. Just because the narrator character doesn't like it.
No,
Doesn't mean
all
Applegate
the
does.
characters don't like it.
all the other characters are like making fun of it and saying, "Oh wow, Jake! I can't believe such a manly Jake man would
No,
square."
they're just making fun of Jake for being embarrassed about it. I don't think Rachel actually thinks square dancing is feminine or whatever. I think she's just making fun of Jake's embarrassment.
The way this book introduces the square dancing thing was like, I thought it was kind of odd. We may be the only hope that Earth has. We have a lot on our shoulders, which is why I really, really, really did not want to have to, did not see why I had to have more suffering piled on. Wasn't I under enough stress? Life wasn't bad enough? We had to have square dancing, the horror. And then the rest of the chapter is about square dancing after Jake was saying things like, think of the one person in the whole world that you trust the most. Think of that one special person and now realize, believe, accept the fact that they might not be the person you think they are. Deal with the reality behind those friendly, loving eyes lives a gray slug. And then in the next paragraph, he's like, guys, square dancing! And then they're square dancing. And
Doesn't he say like square dancing is worse than anything I have to go through?
Yeah, he does. He says, "I
Look,
read."
okay, so you might say that Applegate could possibly appreciate square dancing, but that still doesn't make me enjoy reading about somebody who just hates it for no reason.
are you like a pro square dancing, Batter?
Yes, I'm a pro square dancing person.
I'm pro square dancing.
Square dancing's
Square
great.
dancing is the most fun in dancing I've ever had.
I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever square danced. I just naturally think of it as like a lame, dorky thing.
Jake also calls the square dance music streaming cat fiddle music, which and he says that he looks like a big hunk.
And you put it in all caps.
A big honking goober.
He says that he looks like a big honking goober.
I noticed this book has a lot of like all caps stuff, like more than just like the onomatopoeia.
See, that's what I'm missing in the audiobook. I don't get to see which words are in all caps.
Flash.
They don't shout. They don't shout the words that are in all caps.
He didn't go like I promenaded, which consisted of walking like a big honking goober. No, he didn't do
Sounds
that.
promenade.
Should have.
He just did
It's
it
the only way
normal.
to read it properly.
Oh, geez, that got really loud.
Jake is like more aggressive during this square dancing sequence than he's ever been with any Yerk ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's just part of his dry sense of humor that was mentioned in like last.
No,
book
he seemed
or whatever.
legit. He seemed legit.
No,
he
no,
seemed
this is not
legitimate-
dry.
He was legitimately embarrassed.
No, this seemed like the most legitimate anger we've ever seen from him in the entire series.
See, it's he's so angry that it's just leaking into every interaction he has and like every like thought. He's like, yeah, screw square dancing. I'm so freaking angry right now. And Rachel's like, smile, and then Jake is like, I'm gonna punch Rachel now.
I know.
I was considering swinging her out into the nearest wall.
Yeah.
Promenade this, I muttered darkly.
And Jake morphs the tiger in the middle of class and eats Rachel, and then all the other Animorphs are like, Jake, that was very irresponsible to morph a tiger in the middle of class and also eat Rachel.
You know what, I'm really glad this first scene didn't have stupid morphing in it. It just, I think this is literally the first book where the first scene didn't have just morphing for no reason. I will say it's not necessarily the best first scene because of that. I'm glad hopefully we're out of this pattern of every single first scene. They feel like they have
I
to.
don't know. I don't have that much hope for that.
Yo, so the quote that I read earlier, think of the one person in the whole world that you trust the most, and now realize, believe, accept the fact that they might not be the person you think they are, deal with the reality that behind those friendly, loving eyes lives a gray slug. This is like freaking designed to screw up young kids. Like this is exactly the kind of thing that would like mess with me and make me so afraid of like everything after reading these books.
Good writing.
You know, come to think of it, yeah.
I don't know if I'd say it's good writing. It's just like it's almost like it's either Applegate really doesn't know her target audience or it's intentionally written.
No, I believe Applegate really doesn't know her target audience.
She just wants to traumatize kids.
That's what makes her so genius, is because she's like writing all of these adult themes and stuff into her books.
And she slaps like a monkey on the cover, and then everyone's like, "Wow, it's a kid book."
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, is she like a freaking mastermind?
I mean, you could read into this as like, oh, maybe it's like a metaphor for abuse. You know, people aren't always what they seem.
I really want to read some of her like newer books after we do Animorphs just to see like how they compare. I presumably find one that is targeted towards kids. You know.
I have no idea what she's doing now.
She's still writing stuff. She has a lot of books.
Okay. All right. So then Tobias they go to the store. They have their obligatory meeting. I don't have anything to say about that.
Personally, I figure Tobias found some really good roadkill and he wants us to share. It's just a line that Marco said that I really like.
That's sweet. I think if Tobias found some, they could morph vultures and enjoy some roadkill every now and then. Like that doesn't even have to necessarily be like a funny thing. They could do that.
Yeah, they could.
You know, if I had the ability to morph a vulture, and if every time I saw rolled kill, they should call it rolled kill because it got rolled over by a car. Anyway, if I had the ability to morph a vulture and I saw a roadkill, I'd probably turn into a vulture and then eat it so that I don't have to fix dinner that night.
Well, that just brings up the question of how hunger works for the Animorphs again.
I mean, I think you could reasonably maybe assume that, I don't know, assuming that it works that way. Or if I'm just feeling like, I feel like I just want to eat something. Even if it doesn't translate to my human body, I can still...
I'm just having a Visser 3 moment. I just really want to eat something. I'm not even hungry. I just really want to eat.
Yeah, exactly. I get that. Everyone gets that.
Well, in book 1, Jake like ate a spider and he thought it was really disgusting, even though his like animal instinct would say, no, that's good. I think they would still be grossed out by any food that they wouldn't usually eat, except Tobias because he's a hawk permanently.
Well, I think the difference is that, like, if they're a vulture, they would want to eat the roadkill. Like, this is their plan to eat the roadkill.
Well, so did the lizard.
No. What I'm saying is, this is the human's plan to eat the roadkill, but it was not Jake's plan to eat the spider. It was the lizard's plan to eat the spider.
That makes sense, and that was like before he like took control of the animal instincts, which they always do when they first morph. So I guess if you would do it after you like are able to control it, it probably wouldn't be that bad. If you like.
Have you guys seen The Revenant?
Nope.
No, my dad did.
Okay, it's this movie there's this guy and he's running around and then he eats like a dead he eats like a dead bison at one point, and that scene actually turned my sister vegan. But I remember thinking, man, that looks amazing. He's just eating like raw bison that's been sitting out for who knows how long, but like it's just like chunks of bison. Looks great. I would eat that.
I have a note from the meeting scene.
Tobias is more than a friend. I had mixed feelings. Just out of context, Jake's thoughts on Tobias. He's risked his life for me many times.
Now listen, I'm not gay. I'm not gay, okay? I'm just attracted to a bird.
See, it's not gay if it's a bird.
Fellas, is it gay to want to fuck a bird who saved my life many times and is more than a friend to me?
Are you saying he turned into a bird first?
I not necessarily. I don't know. Do many creative things, dude. I'd love to morph and like do fun things.
Okay, you don't get to say like. Okay, never mind.
Okay, can we just? Yeah,
Hawk
let's move
sex.
on.
Hawk sex.
What scene are we on?
Welcome to the Hawk Sex podcast. We talk about sex with hawks. Today we read this book. There are hawks in it.
Dude, we should just use hawk sex for all transitions. Just have someone say the word hawk sex, and then we move to the next scene.
Yo, who was asking me the question? Like, if would you want to live in a world where, like, if every time you got horny, you turned into a bird?
Oh, I
What?
remember that.
Wasn't that like a year ago?
Yeah. Well, we didn't know each other a year ago, but yes. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome. Because then, like, when you and your partner are getting ready to go, you both turn into birds, and then maybe one of you could be a penguin and the other one
Um,
ostrich.
what if you got horny like in class?
Exactly. Everyone would know.
You just fly away. It's like, I mean, but listen. If it was that obvious, whenever
But
anybody
you're in class, you gotta learn.
you'd. Oh, that's true. Well,
And you'd be that kid who turned into a bird in class.
Guys, birds can't go to school. Animorphs has established this.
if you could wear a human suit. Maybe in this world, it's normal for everyone to be wearing a human suit, so that if you turn into a bird, you can't tell because you're still wearing the human suit.
What?
Ugh.
What?
Just
Guys,
wear.
can we talk about this book? We haven't talked about the book at all.
Okay,
Okay.
page 7. Page 7. I have a note. Page 7. Marco goes to his house. He says, Dad, you home? Anyone home? Dad, I'm going to change all the settings on your stereo. And then Marco winked at him. And that made me think of my dad, because he's always like, oh yes, this is my fancy stereo I bought 15 years ago. I have all the dials set to the perfect setting. Yes, all I think it has like 18 dials that you can like turn to different settings. And he says, yes, I have had the stereo for 15 years, and these are the dials that make it sound the best. So I don't want you to touch it. They're fun to touch. Please don't touch my dials. They are at the best possible setting. And this little Seams Marco made me think of that, and it was nice.
Yeah, I thought that line was really cute.
Marco said that because he didn't. He wanted to make sure his dad was home, and he was like, "Oh yeah, if
Yeah.
Dad hears that, he'll come rushing over to me and tell me to stop."
Yes. Marco winked at me. If he's home, that'll make him come running.
I wonder what I would say to get one of my parents to come running. I'm trying to think. I guess if it were my dad, I'd be like, I'm gonna say the N-word.
No, if you say that, he'll like run out. He'll like run out of there, so because he doesn't want to hear it.
He'd run away.
He'd jump
Yeah.
out the window.
He's like, no.
What else did I just say? Oh, also this book has okay, one that I noticed is the characters in this book wink a lot. Like at first when Rachel like winked because Axe was cute, I thought, okay, that's like a weird, like suggestive wink. But people are just winking left. Do people wink this much of your life? People wink twice in this book.
Twice. That doesn't seem like too many for me.
I don't. I've maybe seen like 4 people wink in my whole life.
What?
When do people wink? People only wink as like a joke. People don't wink at me. Maybe sometimes the teachers
Yeah,
wink
but
at me.
that doesn't happen. It happens often.
Often, not twice per day.
I think it's just Applegate's writing style, dude. I think she just likes it.
So she thinks that people wink twice a day, but she thinks that people see fewer than
No,
14
she's trying to
animals in their
she's trying to
lifetime.
exaggerate their expressions and like the things they say because it's a book and she gotta make it entertaining.
I think she uses the exact same sentence again. I would have smiled if I'd had a mouth.
Yeah. Wait. Well, didn't he actually not have a mouth then?
It was referring to flies. I don't think flies have mouths.
Flies have
Okay,
like
they
6
have
mouths.
mouths. They're just like in the shape of a proboscis.
That's much more forgivable than saying it when you're a freaking bird.
I just think it was the exact same sentence, which I thought was interesting.
Makes sense. It's a pretty simple sentence, and
If you're gonna write 64 books, you gotta recycle some sentences here and there.
The last Animorphs book is made completely of sentences that were in previous books, but it's a whole new story.
You could probably do
that's
that.
cool.
It actually seems like a cool idea, just like taking
Seems like
books
a great
and, like,
idea.
picking out sentences to make a new story.
Except like how would plot rise anything happen that didn't already happen?
I think you could try to do something.
You could make a whole plot just about Visser 3 eating different things.
Oh yeah.
Visser 3 at a restaurant. She's having a 5-course meal.
You have to hope that they use a lot of pronouns, like without saying the word, so then you could like take it out of context.
If Visser 3 like caught all the Animorphs, he's definitely going to have like a freaking 6-course meal, and he's gonna make the controllers all serve him up with like in a restaurant, and he's gonna wear a tuxedo.
He's gonna wear a big white bib.
Yeah. He's gonna have some of the morph lobsters, some of the morph birds.
Oh, yeah, he can like have them morph and do whatever he wants. It's like, oh, morph in this, I'll torture you. It's like, okay.
We should write this.
Yeah, someone should write this.
Yo,
We've
So
so
the
distracted
book
this
seven.
episode.
Why do we keep not talking about the actual book?
Because I don't have any notes. I think usually I'm the one who like, hey, let's talk about this scene, and I have like no notes, so I can't do that.
Oh, I have a question
Okay.
that's relevant to the book.
What?
So do you guys think Jake actually has some of his old baby diapers lying around in his
I
bedroom?
was wondering that.
I forgot about that. That was such a good laugh. Okay, let's talk about that scene quick. Just
So they morph into, what is it, flies? I don't know.
Yeah.
Birds? Yeah, they morph into birds in Marco's bedroom. And Jake, his floor's like messy, and Jake says, "Oh man, you could have at least not left your dirty gym socks lying around." And Marco says, "Hey, I've seen your room. You still have your old baby diapers lying around."
I just have I just have that highlighted, and I have a question mark next to it. It's just like, what?
Such a weird joke for Marco to make.
Marco makes a couple of weird jokes because, like, later on in the book, he's like, "Oh, finally, we got Axe to turn into a monkey or something like that," and I'm like,
oh, he says
"What?"
like we got.
We
We
made a
got-
monkey out of Axe.
We finally made a monkey out of Axe. And I'm like, what the heck does that mean?
No, that's a phase. Make a monkey
Our
out of you.
space cadet is a hot-looking monkey.
Wait, hold up, that's a phrase?
Yeah, like I'm gonna make a monkey out of you. That's like a phase.
What does it mean? Like to embarrass you? I thought that was just something he randomly came up
I've
with.
never
I didn't
heard of
realize that
it.
was a thing.
Isn't it like a song? I don't know. I've definitely heard it.
I'll make
anyway.
a man out of you. It's not the same thing.
Make a monkey.
Okay, Google. I googled to make a monkey out of. It says it means to do something that makes someone seem stupid or ridiculous. So I guess that's what he meant.
Okay, another weird aspect of that joke is that he said they finally did. Like, is this been like a running thing where everybody's trying to make Axe embarrass himself? Because I did not pick up on that at
Axe
all.
never acts silly at all.
Axe never leaves his poopy diapers lying around.
Guys, real talk. Do you think Axe has eaten poop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on, doesn't it say somewhere in the book like, oh, you put some, they're like flies, and there's like a bunch of like, there's a big pile of garbage, and like, oh, if you add some dog poop to that, this will be a 3-course meal. Don't they say something? Like
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, Marco says that.
So Marco definitely wants to eat some poop. I don't know about.
Well, I mean, okay. Becoming a fly not eating poop is like going to like the Grand Canyon and not like looking at it.
That would be the episode title.
What a thing to say.
So then Jake comes up with So then Jake decides on a whim. They all decide on a whim. Once they're in the store to like just hijack this. There's a bug fighter crash in the store, so they all just decide on a whim to hijack it and fly it to the White House.
It sounded silly, but that's exactly why I liked it. Just because it was like, why are they doing this? I don't know, but I want to find out what's going to happen next.
Jake literally said it as a joke. He's like, "Oh, what do we?" They're like, "Well, what do we do with it?" And Jake's like, "Oh, we could drive it to the White House and park it on the White House lawn." And he said it as a joke, and then everyone's like, oh, "That's a good idea. Let's do that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, okay."
I seem to remember that the last time we rushed into something, we managed to screw up the plan, Cassie said. On the other hand, we did survive. I read that and thought, be more specific, please. You do that in every book.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they be immediately shot if you park a craft on the White House lawn?
I think if it was a spaceship, maybe he'd like, oh, this is aliens. We gotta barter with him. You know, like in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, they would shoot at him, but I feel like a bug fighter could repel bullets pretty easily.
Yeah. So, Jake decides the only way I'm not sure what the sequence of events is. I guess they, as flies, fly into the bug fighter, but then they decide that they need to have everybody in the bug fighter leave, and they can't. I don't know why they can't just all turn into battle morphs and just shoo everyone out of there real quick. Jake just decides to have Tobias fly into the grocery store and just fly around in this, like probably 10-foot tall area with every controller, including 7-foot tall Hork-Bajir. Wait, are there Hork-Bajir in there?
Yeah.
Either way, they have guns, and they're shooting at Tobias, who's a bird flying around in a grocery store with dozens of controllers in there, every single one of them focused on him. And he just is like, yeah, that's a normal thing that you should be doing, and that's productive, and that's cost effective, and you're totally not going to die. And of course he doesn't, because his book is stupid. But That just seemed like the worst idea.
Yeah, okay, I have two things to say about that. One is, they could have turned into their battle morphs, but they're all like half flying, half human at this point, and Axe was like already trying to get the ship off the ground. So I feel like it would have been like exhausting, or like it would have taken too long. And I'm not saying it's not dumb, but my other thing is that I think Applegate just really wanted Tobias to be in this one, because to me it also seemed dumb that Tobias couldn't just fly out through the roof again. Like, how big was the roof opening that he came in?
Well, there were control. I mean, that made sense. I was just like, oh, duh. He came in. There was just a hole in the roof, and he came in, and now all the controllers are just standing there, like waiting for him to come back out, and they're gonna grab him.
Well, so basically, that's even worse planning on the Animorphs part. I'll let that go because I was really glad that Tobias got to be in this one. Because even Tobias in this book was complaining like, "But guys, I want to go with you too. Like, you guys always leave me out." And they're like, "Oh, Tobias, you can't come with us because you can't see at night." I'm like, "There's lights on in the store. There's lights of cars on the street. Like, he's not completely blind. All I care about is that Tobias has got to like look out cover and like be like, oh guys, here's some enemies coming." That's all they think Tobias is worth in this book. Well, in every book.
Tobias like yells at Jake a lot in this book.
He does, and I'm like, go Tobias.
To be fair, Tobias is really, really good at scouting for them.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he's incredible with that.
But it's like every time something happens at night, they're like, oh, Tobias is out because Tobias can't have amazing hawk sight at night, even though he can see probably as well as a human.
Yeah, it's a little lame.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, Tobias yells at Jake a lot in this book, and I thought it was interesting to have him like super angry at Jake for sending Axe back for the computer, and that will really put a lot more pressure on Jake for his whole like, oh no, I'm a bad leader kind of dilemma here that he was having.
Yeah.
That grocery store part is like the second time in the series where Tobias is like just one hawk and he's getting shot at by 10 people and survives.
This was a lot less realistic than the part where he's on the ship.
I thought it was more realistic because he at least gets hit this time.
But there are people above him, there are people below him, and they weren't like afraid of hitting their ship too. So like,
There are people above him.
but yeah, they're shooting through the hole in the roof that he came in.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Man, and this is like this is like the only time in the book, I think, where Jake doesn't say, "Oh man, it was a bad plan." This one, Jake just says, "Yeah, that's a good plan." But any other time, anything remotely bad happens, he says, "Man, I'm a bad leader." But this one was fine, I guess.
Yeah, that was weird.
Well, no, at the end of the book, he was like, "Oh yeah, I was dumb. I almost got Tobias killed and everything." I assumed he was referring to that plan.
Tobias almost dies a lot in this book. I think he gets shot later when the Hork-Bajir are like freaking out and shooting everything in sight.
Was that specifically because of a plan that Jake had?
No.
No, it's specifically because Jake's first plan of going into the supermarket set in a chain of events that set in motion a chain of events that led to them being in the rainforest. So I mean, I don't know.
I noticed that in this book, he says that Axe has a few too many fingers. Didn't Axe say that he has 6 fingers on each hand?
Yeah, that's only one too many.
Yeah.
That's too many.
How come none of the Animorphs are willing to count how many fingers Axe has? Only Axe has so far.
It's already been established that Axe has 6 fingers. Why can't other people pick up on that yet?
Yeah.
It's like how nobody wants to count all of Rachel's freakish teeth.
Yeah.
No, it's 10,000. They count.
Well, it's true. Guys, you'll count Rachel's freakish teeth, but you won't count this freaking Axe's 6 fingers.
Maybe Cassie just got tired out from all counting.
Yeah.
10,000 is a big number.
10,006 is too much.
Okay, so then they get the blade ship and they get the bug fighter and everyone's in, and then Axe flies out to for some reason he flies it out of the atmosphere, and then the blade ship's right there, and then it starts shooting at them, so then they fire back, and then the Dracon beams cross, which of course creates a time portal which sends them back in time and also crashes them to the earth. And now they're in the rainforest, and Axe's Astario rip has occurred, which means that it's some point in time, maybe not back in time, but at some point in time.
It's either back or forward.
Yeah, they could have been back or forward. They eventually figure out that they've gone back in time one day, so it's the same day as the previous events took place, just earlier in the day.
Hang on, does Visor 3 start shooting at them before they shoot? I thought what happened is Axe was like, "Oh yeah, we can probably get a shot on him," but if we're lucky. And then I think they shoot at the exact same time, and it's not that they cross; it's that the two beams go directly into each other.
Yeah.
So does this book mean to say that all the time they're going to shoot by 10 different Dracon beams, they never like hit each other?
Well, no, I think it's because they're like directly in the complete opposite directions, going straight into each other. Not just
Also, this is an experimental bug fighter, which has stronger Dracon beams than most other ones, I think.
I don't think the regular handheld ones would do this.
Yeah, but there's a lot of times when the ships are shooting each other.
Can I say something from a while ago?
yeah. Go ahead.
I like how they named the extras in this book. Jake's dad's friends are named Pete and Dominic. I thought those were good names. That's it. Carry on.
Was anybody else really annoyed that Jake was like, yeah, let's shoot the blade ship?
Yeah, why not?
Just get the hell out of there.
Yeah, just get the heck out of there.
Well, he said that he was the whole time. This whole book, Jake was very unsure about all his decisions. He was like, "I don't really know if shooting the blade ship's a good idea, but I have to sound confident, so I have to say, yeah, let's just do it. Yeah, sure, go ahead."
Well, to be fair, I don't think they could outrun the blade ship. I think if they ran away, they'd get shot from behind.
That's true.
That's what I thought.
Okay. So, but they're thinking they're gonna take down the whole blade ship by shooting it once.
Yeah, it's not a very good plan, but maybe.
It just didn't seem necessary to me. Like, it just didn't seem like it would do that much damage to the blade ship.
Well, they had to fight or run, and running wasn't an option, so.
This whole entire book is just Jake going
Ship.
oh ship. There's the blade ship. Ah ship. We can't. It's gonna fire at us. Shoot at it. I guess. Ah ship. We're in the end.
Then none of his bad
Forest.
decisions matter in the end.
Ah ship. Ants are eating me. Yeah, I know. I thought the way that this book ended by not mattering kind of seemed like this book was like just existed to be some kind of like trial run for Jake to practice his leadership in a way that didn't actually end up hurting anybody.
Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning. It's just Jake gets a bunch of freebies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he fails. It's
No,
free.
so this is the only book where he just screws up one after the other, and then no consequences. I mean, it would be pretty messed up if like Jake just led to everyone dying in the same book, but like, it's still not that very satisfying. It's like those plots in TV shows when it all turns out to be a dream, and you're like, what? What was the point of that then?
Exactly. This book was good, but it was all a dream, basically.
But this is a fiction book. None of it matters.
Wow, I didn't realize that. I guess we should just stop reading Animorphs.
Well, so like saying that it doesn't matter is like pointless. Because none of these books are like real life. At the end, it's just gonna say, yeah, they lived happily ever after. By the way, I made this up.
Plot-wise, it would be cool if this stuff happened because that would mean they were moving forward. They didn't move forward in the plot at all.
When I'm invested in a series, I don't like to read installments of that series that are just like, but oops, I was just practicing my writing skills. Don't worry about it. This doesn't matter the rest of the series.
I find it insulting that you just think of this as like that you're just not invested in it at all. That you just don't even care that like the
I am
plot's
invested in
even
it.
moving forward.
No, alternate reality timelines are some of my favorite things in any
No,
like
just by
fiction.
being, it was all a dream.
For the record, it wasn't actually a dream. There was some weird time travel stuff. And
Yeah, and Jake still has like it actually happened to Jake. Like he
But it
knows
didn't
he was
happen
the
to anybody
Amazon.
else.
I thought this whole book was just going to be a setup so that they could get some cool rainforest morphs, and then they could turn into a jaguar in the U.S. and then shock and awe people.
Okay, so tell me, what plot progression happened in the previous two books? Well, I can tell no more happened in the past two books than happened in this one, even though nothing happened in this one.
Hey, in the last two books, we met Eric and we learned about alien lore. And then in the book, what was the book before that? That book was stupid. Don't worry about that book.
We're not saying The Secret is any better.
Okay. Well, I mean, this book would have had some alien lore, like Jake says
Take
that
that out of the way
can't,
first. This book would have been great, but
I still like this book, but the ending definitely brought it down a lot for me.
No, the ending tied it together.
And this book was just an excuse for Applegate to write a story in the rainforest, and then she wasn't like, well, wait, I've just killed all my characters. And Jake's like, yeah, what, you just killed all my characters? And then Applegate's like, oh, don't worry, Jake, I got you. And then she just wrote, like, and then I died, and then I was back in the grocery store.
So you thought the
would
rainforest
understand
part
your
was
point
cool,
of
but not the
everything
time
tying it
travel, like,
together a lot better.
Stop. All right, one of you go.
Okay, you go.
I think I would understand your point of everything being tied together a lot better if if the strings were all tied together a bit better at the end. Like at the end, X didn't clearly explain what exactly had happened. So like, even though we did get some good lore about the Saria rip, it's like, how does that work? And could they use that in the future books? It doesn't sound like it.
You know why I like time travel? It's because it makes you think, and it makes you like you see a time travel story, and it's like, oh, I like it when there's a time loop, and it's like, yeah, the past affected the future, and the future affected the past. I can't really think of any good examples right now for some reason, but I like time travel when it's like, oh, okay, this is gonna sound lame, but I thought it was real. I thought when I was 12, which is also when I was reading Animorphs, I thought it was just the coolest thing in the entire world. So in Gravity Falls, there's this episode where they meet a time traveler, and then they have an adventure with the time travel device, and they end up running through the sets of previous episodes while the events of previous episodes are taking place. Then the whole plot wraps up, and then at the end, you can and then if you actually go back into the previous episodes, you can see the time travel guy cleaning up the stuff that they dropped in that time travel episode. So that's not really a perfect example of what I was thinking of, but I like it when it's like time. I don't know. I like time travel as an idea because
I do like that episode because in the episode, one of the things that happened is that Dipper is trying to I think he's trying to like impress Wendy by like throwing an apple at
he's
target.
trying to win like a ball toss game at a carnival.
Yeah, but like he keeps going back in time, but every time he tries to do something different, it always has the same result anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a cool time loop thing.
Anyway, this wasn't cool.
No. Okay. The thing is, you like trying to compare this to like other time travel stuff, but this isn't like a time travel-y book. It's like a time breaking book, and then the end isn't like the satisfying ending. It's just like, ooh, well that happened. Wow, it's like a Twilight Zone ending.
I don't like that.
Some of my favorite
Twilight Zone
endings.
endings kind of suck though.
No, Twilight Zone's awesome. I love Twilight Zone endings.
I don't.
Okay,
I'm not
look,
comparing this to Twilight Zone.
Okay, that was kind of mean of me to say. But Twilight Zone is not a continuous narrative.
No, it's not. But like the
So that's
endings
why it
always
makes it
have like this
better.
kind of mystical feeling, and this book had that, and I like that about it.
No, but it ruins the continuous narrative of Animorphs because
I
it
don't
doesn't
care
add
about
to the
the
continuous
no,
narrative at all.
the previous two books had no continuous narrative. You could have switched up the order. Besides book one and like the Alien, you could have like mixed up the order of any of the ones. So I don't care about the continuous narrative here.
It would have been cooler though if the events of this book had any bearing on what happened.
No, but it wouldn't
I'm
have
not
the
going to say
mystical
that in
feeling
the
that
past
Twilight Zone
other
has.
things did do that.
For me, the time travel element of this book didn't seem like Capelgate wanted to write a time travel book. It seemed like she wanted to write a book that took place in the Amazon rainforest, and she wanted our characters to get there and also get back in the span of one book. And she wanted some kind of tension and time limit in there. So this is what she came up with. Like that's
Okay.
Why it's there.
Absolutely, because she never really explained what happened at the end.
So I like time travel stories when it's about time travel and the time travel is like important to the narrative. But this is just like Capelgate wanted. This is just what I said earlier. Just what I just said. Capelgate wanted to write a story in the rainforest, and she wanted there to be a time limit, and so this is what she came up with.
Yeah, so to me the whole like, okay, you want to write the rainforest part, that's lame. But then like the ending like shows like, wow, this is actually like cool, like the stuff at the end happens and it's eerie.
No, because what happens? He dies and then he just turns up back where he was before. It's like what even
awesome.
happened there?
It's
well,
awesome.
I disagree.
Can I quick describe like exactly how Axe explains
It's
what
like it's like the first episode of the Twilight Zone where like all this stuff happens and everyone's gone, and then he wakes up and it was all in his head. And you're like, whoa! And then you just live on with your
What do you
life,
mean,
and it doesn't
whoa?
matter.
That I would have hated that. Wait, I actually don't know what episode you're talking about right now.
It's episode 1.
I probably saw it, but I don't remember. Hey, Mustard, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, so I want to explain like how it actually, because it is described. It's just a really weird explanation.
Axe says he might have a theory as to why it works.
So what happens is they go back in time because of this weird thing, and they're like one day in the past, and Axe says, yeah, right now there's 2 of each of us in the world, and they have to try to get back to actual time using time travel or else Axe thinks that they'll all four or all each version of the Animorphs will just stop existing because it's possible for them to like exist in this exact same. Well, I don't know. It's dumb and confusing. But the reason that Jake comes back is because he suddenly gets killed at the very end of this book, and then Axe is like, "Oh yeah, so what happened is because you existed in the same time. It was like both of you existed, but then when one of you ceases to exist, your consciousness snaps back to the other one, and that's because they exist at the same time."
None of the other Animorphs were even there for some reason. They were just a memory. I don't know why. I don't know what's special about Jake. It's probably just because he's the narrator, but whatever.
Well, no, Jake's the only one who remembers all this stuff. It only happened to Jake.
Yeah.
My guess is that maybe because Jake fired the Dracon beam that caused it.
Maybe Jake just happened to be closest to the
Oh,
where
maybe
the
Jake.
place where the
Maybe
beam
it's because
crossed
Jake
or
fired the
something like
Dracon
that.
beam.
Anyway,
So something about this book is that the whole book, Jake is questioning his decisions and going like, "I'm not a good leader. People just trust me and they shouldn't because I make bad decisions."
Yeah.
Which I thought was stupid at first, but then like the ending explains why, and that was really cool. Like the ending tied everything together.
So Jake, and then Axe says, so Jake says it was a disaster down there. Axe, I blew it. The only reason we're still alive is because I got lucky in the end. And then Axe says, it's the leader's job to be lucky. Sometimes success is just luck.
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. That it's like, yeah, Jake's decisions don't really matter because everything, you never really know what the right answer is, and it's ultimately just up to luck.
I think Jake's decisions have a lot of bearing on what happens.
Yeah, they do, but in
Fortunately,
the
this
end,
book just did not illustrate that.
I just thought it was an interesting thing that Capital gets literally saying, like, yeah, it's all just luck whether or not
It's
they
not
survive.
though, because military generals aren't just people who have charisma and like, just are like,
yeah, but in the end, there's no way to guarantee success.
no, there's
Ever.
no way to guarantee, but you can make your chances better.
Yeah, chance, luck, exactly.
hey, there's an important part of the series is that Jake isn't a military general. He's just a random dude. So
And he doesn't want to be a leader. He's just like, yeah, I'm not a leader. Everyone calls me a leader. I don't know
I
why.
don't think Axe would say that if Jake was a literal military general. But he's saying that because somebody needs to be the leader in their logic, and Jake is and nobody's actually qualified.
Well, no, Axe says that like Elfangor is the one who told him that being a leader is just lucky, and then he says Elfangor's luck ran out. Jake says that, and then he's like, yeah, we must hope that yours doesn't run out, Jake. I thought it was interesting that Elfangor, he's like an actual leader, and Elfangor himself says, yeah, it's a leader's job to be lucky. That's what success is. I thought that was odd and interesting.
Well, I've heard I've heard some phrases like that, like if you prepare, like if you prepare a lot, you'll be lucky, or something like that. It's not how it goes, but like basically you're more likely to get lucky if you improve your chances. So yeah, I think that's what it means. Anyway,
but this was like the last sentence of the book, so I think that like that message is like the message Capelgate was trying to give with this book, because it was all related to Jake's decision.
no, the message Capelgate was trying to give with this book was that the rainforest is a cruel, cruel place.
Well, yeah, that's the primary message. This is
Can we
secondary.
talk about the parts of this book that I liked?
Yeah, let's get to the rainforest. This is like half the episode. We haven't talked about
Did
the
you
rainforest.
like the
at
rainforest?
all.
The rainforest was lame.
Yeah, I didn't care about the rainforest. I didn't care about the
Okay,
culture.
I
don't
would not
care about
describe the rainforest as lame. What do you mean
Yeah,
by
what are you
lame,
talking about?
sir?
that. I
You
didn't
think
care
you
about
think the ending's
rainforest.
lame? I think the rainforest is lame. There,
I didn't think the. Why do
Okay,
you think the rain?
could you explain your reasoning behind that?
it was bland. It was just like, oh look, more bugs. Hey, stuff to fight. They just did the same thing over and over again every chapter.
No, it's like
It would have mattered if the ending was substantial.
I don't care that it didn't matter. I care that it was boring to read.
It wasn't boring. I thought it was.
They were freaking dying every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was boring. I can die every 2 seconds. It's not interesting.
This was the book that thrilled me the most because it was like boom, 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 one thing after the other. It's not like, oh, we did one thing, we almost got shot by some controllers, let's have a boring meeting. Oh, we did another thing, let's have another boring meeting. Oh, we did a third thing, let's have another boring meeting.
Yeah, it was just like
logging through
I
constant
can't make
action.
decisions. Everything is happening too fast. Rachel's dying. I got bit by a freaking snake, and that wasn't even important enough to make it into the summary.
Exactly. Everything's happening. Nothing important happens.
Can you just shut up and let us talk about why we like the rainforest part without you guys cutting in and being like, I didn't like that part?
No, I think it's good that you guys liked it, because I was like, what do they see in this book? But yeah.
So, I thought it was great because it was like just one thing after another. It was just relentless. Yeah, it was like they're running away from Hork-Bajir. Jake's a tiger. Then he manages to fight off a Hork-Bajir, but then like 3 Hork-Bajir swarm on Rachel and cut her open and stuff. Then she's being eaten by. I really like how Jake says, "I wanted to." So there's ants, just like her fur is just like swimming with ants, and they're in her eyes, and she's unconscious, and they're in her.
That's probably horrified me the most in the Animorphs books so far.
She's an ant. She's a passed out bear with cuts all over her, and the ants are just like in her, like in they're just all over her. It said her fur was alive with ants. That's just very. I could very easily picture this, and I like that.
Yeah, and they're like crawling in her eyes and her ears.
Yeah, and Jake said, "I wanted to scream, I wanted to cry. I don't think I've ever felt so totally helpless." And then then he like saves her by just getting the ants to fight with each other. I'm not sure if that would actually work, but whatever, it does work. And
yeah, I don't know, but I do like that it connects to the part where they were ants, and so like they learned from being ants that ants hate each other.
Yeah.
So and then he uses that to save somebody. I think that was a cool tie-in.
Yeah, that was.
But it didn't actually happen.
Why does it matter if it actually happened? Like, it was still in the book. We still read it.
Yeah, I thought I was interested. I had fun reading this book, but then at the end I was just like, well,
Like, the only difference is that Rachel doesn't remember it. Like, why does that make a difference?
All right, well, okay, I was like, this book was a waste of time travel, basically.
Yeah, it wasn't very interesting time travel, but they went to the rainforest. That was cool.
Yeah, I liked the rainforest.
I thought you said the rainforest wasn't cool.
No, but it was much more. This was definitely not like a time travel book. This was a rainforest book.
Yeah.
It was constant action, which I'm not a fan of action. I don't know why.
Oh well, I guess I can't argue with you on that one.
Yeah.
So then they morph jaguars, and the rainforest is really, really, really cool.
Well, no wonder you didn't like this book, because this book was like all action.
Yeah, I have no argument to give about it. I just wasn't thrilled by it. I don't know why. I mean, I guess that's the reason, but yeah.
Once they morph jaguars, the rainforest is suddenly really, really, really cool. He says, every time I thought, well, I've seen it all, the rainforest would answer, kid, you haven't seen anything. Take a look at this bird. Take a look at that flower. Get a load of this creature. Little human boy, I have more to show you than you could see in 10 lifetimes. Okay, Rachel said. I take it back. I don't want to pave over the rainforest. I don't care if it's dangerous and deadly or if it's trying to kill us. The rainforest is cool if you're a jaguar.
Because earlier in the book, like, Rachel was like, man, freaking people want to save this? It's deadly. There's horrible creatures in it. Burn it down.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you started reading that, I wanted to like add a beat to it. You're like, look, it had like it was like a rap beat. Good, nice. Anyway.
And every time I thought, well, I've seen it all. The rainforest answer, kid, you haven't seen anything. Take a look at this bird. Take a look at that flower. Get a load of this creature, little human boy. I have more to show you than you could see in 10 lifetimes. Okay, Rachel said. I take it back. I don't want to pave over the rainforest. I don't care if it is dangerous and deadly and it's trying to kill us.
Actually, I think you're a lot more offbeat when you're trying.
I think I forgot.
But that was great. That was the Parappa the Rapper song. It was like the Save the Rainforest song.
We need a Parappa the Rapper emoji now. Guys, join our Discord server. We have good emojis.
He's good.
So when Jake first started doing the flashback to reality stuff, like where he was suddenly in the jungle, where did you think that was going?
I thought it was going to be one of Capelgate's stupid dream sequence things, but then I was like, no, it was real. It wasn't just a vision. It was freaking there, and I was like, okay, you kind of have me interested.
It reminded me of the Halloween episode of Invader Zim.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Oh yeah.
I think maybe it was just going to be that, where like the flashback slowly got longer until he was living in that one and had to get his way out.
Yeah. Then once it flashed to like he was in the rainforest and Marco was there complaining, I was like, okay, that seems like it's probably the future.
Oh, see, I didn't even pick up there was a future until he straight out said it.
Oh. A quick note, because this is my last of 7 notes. Axe can tell actual time in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't assume that's how it worked. I assumed he basically had like a stopwatch in his head where he knew exactly how long it's been since they started morphing. But I didn't know they could go suddenly show up time travel in the rainforest and he'd be like, oh, it is exactly 1:37 p.m. Like didn't assume that's how his internal clock worked.
I
Did
guess he
they have
could.
an explanation?
He knows how he can sense the rotation of the Earth.
Yeah, because in a previous book he says, "What, you guys can't tell cardinal directions?" So he's like super aware of where the planet is my guess.
That makes sense. I mean, certain animals on Earth can do that.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of notes for this book either. I like how Tobias is in this. I like how it's noted that once Tobias is in the rainforest, he looks very out of place. You know, most other books that talk every other time Tobias is mentioned, it's like, oh, he's in pocket, his natural element. Look at him gliding through the air and in the forest, and now he's in the rainforest, and he's there like, wow, he just looks really out of place because he's just a freaking brown bird.
And in this one, doesn't it say he looks boring in comparison to all the green and red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, said that, and I noticed later on that Jake's like, oh, I feel bad for Tobias because he must be really tired. He hasn't like eaten at all today, and like birds need to eat a lot more than humans to keep up like flying and stuff.
Yeah. Also, I noticed they didn't really in the early books. They would almost every book would have something about how like they all feel so sorry for Tobias, or they don't know what to say. They feel awkward around him. They don't know what to say around him, and they're like scared of what happened to him. But now they just seem really comfortable around him, and they're like, oh yeah, this is just our friend Tobias, and he's a bird. What of it? And I like that. And so that someone said earlier you could rearrange most of these books, and I would say in the terms of that kind of stuff, no, because in the early books they're like, man, Tobias is, I'm kind of freaked out by him, not gonna lie. But now they're like, yeah, he's just our friend Birdman. Cool.
I like that too. That's a
Yeah.
detail that I didn't notice at first.
Man, I like Tobias more every time I see him in this series.
Tobias is just like such a down to earth kind of. Ironically, he's such a down to earth kind of guy.
Yeah, because he's always up in the sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens like 3 times in this book where Tobias is like, oh man, I should have been keeping watch, but I haven't. I've just been so tired. I've just been like, I should have been resting. I should have been.
He was so angry at he was just like, let's just. I like how it seems like he was up in the air at one point and he was saying, the guys, the Yerks are coming for you. And then Jake, you know, the others can't see it because they're on the ground. And then Jake is like, Axe, go get the computer from the bug fighter so that they can't fly the bug fighter. And then Tobias is like pissed at Jake for doing that because he's like, Axe is in a real danger of getting killed now.
Tobias called down, if Axe isn't out of there in under 2 minutes, he's not going to get out of there. I didn't answer.
Like I kind of saw that as like a Tobias sees the Tobias can see the Yerks, and maybe he's almost like, man, Jake just doesn't listen to me.
They're after him, Tobias called down from above. Axe has 6 Hork-Bajir on his tail. You happy now, Jake? Axeman, look out behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. In this book, at one point, Marco calls Axe Axeman, and that kind of upset me because I thought that was Tobias' special nickname for Axe that only he called him.
I don't think I noticed. It seems like a much more Marco thing to come up with is calling Axe Axeman. But like, it was kind of established earlier that that's like the special part of Tobias.
No, Marco would call Axe like Axe Murderer or something, or like he'd make a reference to Friends or something.
I think only Tobias has called Axe Axeman so far, and it's been like 5 different times. And
Marco's the one who came up with the name Axe in the first place, so I'd assume that he just likes Axe and just keeps it at Axe.
Yeah, I think he just stole Axeman from Tobias.
Marco's more of a nickname kind of guy than Tobias, though.
That's Tobias' special nickname for Axe. You stay away from him.
Yeah.
Stay away from his Axeman.
Yeah.
That's all my notes.
For the whole book?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about this book either, except that I enjoyed the rainforest scenes and I didn't like the time travel aspect.
Okay, so we have a split.
You know, I think I wrote. Hold on.
There was a lot of just like rainforest, like them getting attacked by animals and fighting them off.
Dude, like over a quarter of my notes are about the square dancing.
That was completely skipped in the summary. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how it was skipped in the summary because it wasn't ultimately important to the plot. But like this, that's the thing that I had the most to say about.
That was like a quarter of the episode too.
Hey, we didn't talk about the scene where the Hork-Bajir are like shooting in the forest, and then Visser 3 shows up and is like, "Don't do that."
Oh, I like that one.
Yeah, there's this part where Visor 3 is yelling at the other controllers because the controllers are just shooting at everything that moves, and then Visor 3 is like, did it occur to you idiots that I might be in Morph and you might accidentally shoot me?
Well, he doesn't just say that. He is a snake, and he jumps out of a tree onto a Hork-Bajir and says, "Hey, stop that!"
And he starts strangling him.
Yeah, it's great. I think that gives a lot of character to Visser 3. 'Cause I think that's the only time we've seen Visser 3 like actually afraid of death. Like he doesn't want to get shot.
But his reaction, of course, is anger, not showing
I
fear.
didn't immediately kill that guy. Look, did he
I
kill
was
him?
surprised too. No, he didn't.
At least it didn't show him killing him.
Probably he didn't kill him because he had a limited number of people with him, and he needed
Yeah.
everybody he could get.
Like that'd be silly if he just like killed all his people one by one. That's like
Dude, that's just how the Animorphs win. Visser 3's like, attack Hork-Bajir, but then like 2 Hork-Bajir stumble out and he's like, where's everyone else? He's like, you ate them, Visser. That's how the Animorphs win. Visser just kills every one of his troops. One by one.
I like how when Rachel's being attacked by the ants, Jake says, Rachel was screaming now. Rachel is the bravest person I know, but the thousands of vicious ants were beginning to attack her now that they were done attacking each other. No one can stand that. No one can stand that.
ants are scary. Ants will
I could not stand that. That part freaked me out. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, they're eating her flesh and they're like crawling in her eyes and ears. It was the part where they're like crawling in her like mouth and ears and eyes and nose. That was
Can you
freaking
imagine?
else, I think.
Can you imagine waking up and there's ants in your eyelids
I don't want to imagine
Ugh,
that.
and in your freaking throat?
that's way worse than being an ant.
They're also tearing you up.
At least she's a bear.
Yeah. So I've mentioned multiple times how Capplegate will just like do horrible things to these kids when they're in Animal Morph, and I thought it was interesting that I wasn't bothered by that scene specifically because she was in Beowmorph, and I'm like, yeah, she's just gonna morph back to human and be fine, and none of it's gonna affect her. Like,
What if this series is about a bunch of anthropomorphic animals who didn't morph and she was actually a bear?
yeah, that'd be scary.
So it's the fact that she could morph back and like get she'd be fine.
Yeah, because I think in any other situation, yeah, that is terrifying. Ants are scary, especially like whatever ants. I assume these were like deadly ants. Well, I mean, though, yeah, they're tearing the skin off this living.
Yeah, they were walking away carrying pieces of bloody bear flesh. That's what
Yeah.
you described.
Ants are scary, dude.
Oh, that's freaky.
Like those images you always see of the leafcutter ants with the big giant leaves, just that, but with bear flesh.
Man.
How do you feel when Jake as a monkey had his neck snapped? I mean, you can't morph out of that.
That's pretty epic.
Hey, what'd you guys think of the monkey scene where they're all like playing around as monkeys?
That was cute.
I think that was one of the best, like, fun time, morph, happy, jump around animal scenes in the series.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I liked it.
Because, yeah, the squirrel and the dolphin scene just kind of irritated me, but I like this one.
I like the connection between them, like using their monkey instincts to like swing on vines and stuff, and the connection between Visser 3 turns into it like a vine creature, and then Jake's like, yeah, I can use my monkey powers because vines.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about like the plan to time travel back and stuff?
I mean, they don't actually use it, so I don't think it matters that much. They
don't
say,
have
hey,
a-
let's
they
just...
don't have
That's a very confusing part of the book, and like it helped gather tension because I'm like, I have no idea what they're planning. I have no idea how they're gonna get out of this one.
That's why I didn't like this book, is because the whole book was like, how are we gonna get out of this one? And then like the final battle is happening, and I noticed there were 6 pages left in the book, and I was like, well, I guess some bullshit's gonna happen because nothing of substance could possibly develop in this time, and I was right.
You did like this book though, just not the ending.
I think if Applegate wants to write about the rainforest, I don't know what she'd do exactly, but I liked the rainforest experience.
Honestly, when I saw those 6 pages left, I was like, oh man, like the next 5 books gonna take place in the rainforest? That'd be cool. But no, they just go back to normal.
That would be cool. Why couldn't we have that?
That would be pretty cool.
Now, I saw the last 6 pages left, and I thought, wow, this shouldn't be stupid, isn't it? And then it delivered, and I thought it was really
What do
good.
you mean it delivered?
It delivered. It was a Twilight
would-
Zone
okay,
ending.
okay,
I sent a
no,
Twilight
I'm
Zone
gonna
episode
ask-
that's
I'm
a
gonna ask you
similar
a
ending.
question. In what kind of hypothetical scenario would it have not delivered for you?
If if a whale came, and I don't know, maybe I'm just easily impressed.
There's nothing impressive about it. He just wakes up and whoop-de-doo, everything's over.
Well, okay, yeah, there's actual stuff that happens is impressive, but the ideas behind it I thought were really interesting.
I just love that Jake dies, and that's how.
Yes, finally we're gonna see Jake die. Stupid
It's like the
boring
consuming
boy.
shadow where you have to die in order to succeed because the god of pain just wants to keep you alive so it can torture you and feed off your pain.
Jake summoned his persona. I've never actually played Persona, but I see people dying and having Persona strums. I'm just guessing that's a
So
somewhat
before
accurate
you like, shoot
reference.
yourself in the head.
So I have one more note. So basically, the plot is that Axe like took this part of the ship out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have this ship. We need this part of the ship to like time travel back." And they're like, "Okay, if we replicate the shooting by taking the two ships and shooting the lasers at each other again, then maybe they'll take us back." So then Visor 3 moves the two ships together as a trap to like get them to come near the ship, and then that's when he kills them. And I thought it was silly that like, okay, we have this piece of the time travel ship that Visor 3 needs in order to get back. So maybe we can work together to get back. But no, wait, we can't trust Visor 3. We can't bargain with him to get.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up because I would have forgotten. Oh my gosh! So
Yeah, he's saying that the one who lied on his bargain. Visor 3 upheld his side.
Visor 3 literally delivered on his bargain.
We're referring to a previous book.
It was 2 books ago where they bargained with Visor 3. Visor 3 like let go of his important man and took him to the hospital so that he could be taken care of all sweetly. And Jake did not uphold his side of the bargain. He lied to Visor 3.
So you know what? Visor 3 shouldn't trust them. Visor 3 should no longer trust them in bargains because he knows.
Jake, instead of saying we can't trust Visor 3, Jake should have said, "Yeah, but we can't trust ourselves to follow through on our part of the bargain. So that plan's not going to work."
I know we're gonna be tempted to work in grape juice somehow.
Yeah, I was like, of course Visor 3 is not going to uphold his part of the bargain because you didn't uphold your part of the bargain last time. That's your fault. The only reason he can't be trusted is because you guys are liars. That's my last note.
This book answered one of my questions from book 1. Jake says that I might have said this already, but I completely forgot whether or not I said it. Jake says it's impossible to acquire a morph from a person who is morphed. In other words, we couldn't just copy Axe's monkey morph. We had to find an actual monkey. So I'm just glad that that's finally explained. Like, why they didn't just have like one person find a squirrel and then morph into it, and then have everyone touch that morph.
Yeah, I assume that's how it worked, but yeah, I guess it's good that they explicitly said it.
One thing I noticed is that since book 3, pretty much, there hasn't been like a super angsty book. Like 2 and 3, I thought were really angsty, and we just haven't had that since. I kind of miss that.
Ah, you're right.
Like after book 3, I was like, man, I'm kind of worried that the series isn't going to come back to this, and it's going to kind of get more child friendly, and I'm worried that that's already happening.
Yeah, the last Marco book was not angsty.
At book 3, Tobias was just depressed the whole time, and it was really angsty, and it was well written.
Well, to be fair, have we only had one Tobias book so far?
Yes,
Yes.
So maybe it'll happen again.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not like sad anymore. He seems. Oh, maybe he is. I don't know. I guess we don't know what's in his head.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Maybe he's better at hiding it.
So I'm excited for the next Tobias book.
I thought a funny line was when they're just like they're just shooting like every tree and bird and animal in sight, and Visor 3's like, I you thought perhaps the trees were Andalites as well. And that actually made me think. I'm like, wait, why? How come Andalites can only acquire animal morphs? Because like trees have DNA too, right?
They could definitely acquire trees, but they'd have to like dig a hole and sit waist deep in dirt before they could safely turn into a tree, because otherwise they just have roots like crawling all over the place without being in dirt.
Dude, they'd be like tree blings.
They would be like tree blings.
Yeah.
They'd say, "Gee."
I just want to know like what a tree's instincts are. Like what would they be thinking about if they were a tree?
Hold on, I have a video of this.
Photosynthesis.
Yeah, I was gonna send that video.
Yeah.
Do you, Batter, do you know that scene from SpongeBob that B Natural's talking about?
I think I do.
I'll just send it. This is SpongeBob doing his tree role play.
Tree blings are from the game Me Blings.
I like how Visor 3, like, at first it was just like a joke that we had, like, oh, Visor 3 keeps wanting to eat stuff, but it's just like clearly established that Visor 3 loves eating stuff.
Well, yeah, and in this book he didn't kill the other he only killed Jake. The other Animorphs, he just held them in his mouth and to take them back to the Blade ship.
Yeah.
Just sloshed him around in there, just licked him.
I thought it was cool when Marco was saying, we've traveled in time, we're in a jungle fighting brain-stealing aliens and 10,000 annoying species of bugs, and our resident space shed is a hot-looking monkey. And then Jake and him say together, somebody wake me up when we get back to reality. And I just thought it was, I don't know, it was surprising to
It's
me.
kind of foreshadowing, isn't it? Because Jake eventually wakes up and goes back to reality.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
This seems like a common thing with like time travel or like just like any kind of vision of the future where people will be saying something and then the person who was able to see the future earlier like says the thing at the exact same time.
Yeah.
But like I feel like if I was in the situation, I would not be able to remember the exact wording of the thing the person said.
I feel like if I had a very realistic vision in the middle of school for no reason, I would definitely remember every detail about it.
I don't even remember stuff people
But I
say.
don't remember words that happened like people said like 5 seconds ago, like the
Well, yeah,
exact
but not like
wording.
well, you can't remember words that like just I said to you just now, but you could remember like if you had a supernatural vision with monkeys and stuff.
No, when I'm listening to something specifically because I want to listen to it and then, okay, I'm going to listen to this and then I want to write down the exact words. I usually miss a few words and don't get it perfect. Maybe that's just me though.
Like even if I'm like typing out like a transcript of something, I mess up the words a lot. But maybe that phrase just stuck with him, like how what is it? Something of smell? Morons of smell stuck with
Morons of smell. Yeah, it was,
matter for 10 years. So some stuff just sticks. So maybe he just really
it
liked the
was
phrase.
weird when they just started drinking the rainwater off of the leaves.
Oh no, they're thirsty.
My note was just like, okay. Charged through the downpour, drinking our fill from the water that drained down off the leaves. That just seems like something like Applegate was like, oh wait, aren't they thirsty? Oh shoot, I gotta make sure they don't die of thirst. They're drinking the rainwater. Okay, let's go.
Jake, morph into a wolf and pee all over so we can drink it.
Hey, so if one of them like morphs to tomato, tomatoes have a lot of juice in them and liquid. So if one of them like morphed a tomato and then the others ate all the tomatoes except for like a little bitty piece of tomato that was left, then that person could morph back into a human and then morph into a tomato again and they'd have more tomatoes.
Do we even know that they can morph plants? Like, is that established that morphing plants is possible?
I assume it should be.
I mean, plants don't have brains, so how would they morph back?
Look, no. Even okay, let's not even say it's a tomato. Let's just say it's some kind of prey animal.
So they could like morph
As
a
long
rat.
as they keep the brain stem intact,
So they
eat as much meat as they want.
Jake is like, we're gonna draw straws. Whoever has the short straw has to morph into a freaking elephant or a big horse animal, and then we also just have to eat you while you lie there alive.
so they could morph a frog and then cut its legs off and eat them, and then unmorph and then morph back into the same frog.
Well, you wouldn't want to do a frog. You'd want to like have Cassie do her horse morph or Rachel her elephant. You know.
Okay, now you're gonna mess with the mass floating in zero space. You're gonna run out.
We still don't have an answer as to like how you get to be an animal that's bigger than you are.
Yeah, we don't. We need that.
And also, every time they like morph an animal, they get violently dismembered usually. So, I don't think it's all an issue.
So what do you think that it's just like a bank where every time someone loses a limb and then morphs, it just goes there?
It just gets stuck in the real world.
Yeah, when one of the arms is cut off and then they morph back, does like the cut off arm disappear?
No, it just sits there.
Are you sure?
I mean, at no point in the books have they just said like, "Oh, my arm on the ground suddenly just started fading away."
Well, they haven't seen it.
Yeah, they never described that at all. Oh, I want to know now.
Doesn't one of the covers have them morphing into a starfish on it?
Yep.
Because starfish have a lot of like weird, like can't you like cut off a starfish arm and it like goes into another starfish?
Oh man, how would that work?
Oh,
Does that happen in that book? Maybe.
Have to find out.
that's gonna be cool.
Anyway, more notes about this book.
Yeah, I'm irritated that they haven't acquired a Hork-Bridger yet. Like they've incapacitated Hork-Bridger before. They've like had Hork-Bridger passed out on the
I
floor.
never thought about that, but yeah, that would be epic. They should just because then the Hork-Bridger wouldn't immediately know that they're not controllers.
And they could have made it through the rainforest, no problem.
Yeah, and the Hork-Bridger can hack and slash through the rainforest so easily too.
As Hork-Bajir, they could have just walked onto the ship. Then they would have just flown home. That would have been a better ending.
Why don't they acquire Axe?
They should.
Natural and I were talking about this a little bit off recording. I don't think we came to any conclusion though.
I think Visor 3 would probably be able to tell that they're all the same Andalite, but yeah, they should still.
You're right.
They should still morph him.
From a distance, they could fool him.
Yeah, exactly. They should still acquire him.
Do you think Visor 3 could tell?
Yeah, you could tell if there were 5 identical looking Andalites. Yeah.
Do Andalites? Well, we've only seen 2 Andalites so far, so we don't really know what they look like. I mean, 3. We've seen 3.
I feel like Andalites have like an instinctual like ability to tell the difference between other Andalites.
Yeah, if someone was morphed into 5 of the same human beings, that'd be suspicious, especially if they're all naked.
Okay, I guess Axe did recognize the Andalites when he striped with them. So
We're all just quintuplets.
Hey, how does Andalite pregnancy work?
I don't know.
we don't even know how Andalite females work yet.
It's true. Hey, we've never met an Andalite female yet.
Oh my
So,
gosh, you're right.
is their society like very like patriarchal? Because all of the war princes and heirists that we know of are male, and that scientist was a guy.
Maybe the reason that Visit 3 being purple was so embarrassing is that the female Andalites are purple.
Ooh.
Haha, he looked like a girl.
Yeah. that would. I feel like that would upset Visit 3.
Yeah, he'd be like, "Rah!"
I'm pretty sure Vista 3 has morphed female animals before.
I mean, we
yeah,
don't
but not
know that.
Andalites.
I feel like Visit 3 seems like someone who'd be like Marco. It's like, no, I don't want to be a girl wolf.
Speaking of girl worlds, not really. Does anyone else have notes on the actual book?
I'm slowly scrolling through.
I don't have any.
10 pages left.
Oh, I forgot. You wrote write them on the book.
Yeah. I'm happy because I got to talk about most of my morphs, most of my notes for this episode.
Maybe I should take fewer notes more often then.
Why?
Oh shoot, my skateboard just broke.
Why, Mustard?
Oh no.
Mustard, why would you take fewer notes?
Because then we can get to more of mine.
Ah, dang it, my closet broke.
Okay, no, after this, it's all just stuff about the ending.
Okay, do you want to talk about the cover?
It has the same ugly red clouds as the last cover, but at least Jake's not wearing a yellow shirt.
I think this is my favorite cover because it just looks so silly.
I have worn that exact same outfit to school, like white t-shirt and a sky blue button-up that doesn't fit very well. Like it's way too big on him. I have a shirt just like that.
It's a particularly weird choice to be wearing while morphing.
This is the only time it switches colors. Like usually, like okay, he has a black jacket, so he turns into a gorilla, or he has a brown shirt, so he turns into an eagle. But this time it's just blue straight to orange, literally opposite colors.
Well, imagine how tacky it would be if he was like wearing like a leopard print jacket. I don't know what animal this is. Leopard, whatever.
Jaguar.
Jaguar print.
Jaguar print jacket.
I don't like the way his tail looks when it's growing out of his butt.
I love his tail. It looks so stupid.
Well, is it growing out of his shirt?
I like the second stage where his shirt just goes whoop.
Yeah, he looks like a ghost.
I love every single stage.
He looks like a boo.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He also has a really pouty face, and then it converts well to jaguar face.
Yeah.
I wonder if they tell these kids to pose. They're like, all right, you're gonna turn into a jaguar, so make sure you like make your face look as much like a jaguar as you can. Okay, you're gonna turn into a spider, so just have an emotionless face and try and like make your chin look big if you can.
In the spider and the fly one, they're starting in these really weird poses.
They are.
No, I still my favorite cover is still by far is the book 3.
Yeah, the Tobias one is epic.
Like he's doing an action pose in that.
I like book 4 because it's in the water instead of in the sky.
Yeah, book 4 is definitely the most realistic. I mean, she's actually in morph suit.
Yeah, she's like in a place instead of just like in front of some weird clouds.
She's not just in a hellscape for no reason.
The covers of these books look like screensavers.
They do.
The dude who makes these, the dude who I was on the dude who makes these, David Mattingly's Twitter, and he makes these covers, and he was like advertising some screensavers that he'd made of the covers.
Oh, that's actually really cool.
So yeah, I can just see like the clouds in the background like floating around as this kid turns from a jaguar and back.
Should we sign off?
Here, I found one of these screensavers. Can you imagine if you went to someone's house and their computer just had this screensaver and you didn't know what Animorphs was?
Okay, let's look at this. Oh my gosh, that's a really like high quality photo of Jake, wherever he is.
Oh, whoa! What?
This is the actual screensaver.
Whoa! Wait, what
Oh
do you?
my! Wow!
Can I
You
get
blinked.
that? Does this work on Windows 10?
I
Does
don't
it work on
know.
Windows XP?
I want to get the screen shaver. This
It's
is
so epic.
screen shaver.
I like the kaleidoscope background near the end.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, wait. Where's the what's his name? David Mattingly.
His Twitter is at Animorphs
Yo, guys, probably don't look at that because it might be spoilers.
Oh, okay. Well, if you find the actual screensaver, I'm going to download it to my Windows XP computer.
Anyway, let's sign out.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm satisfied.
I'm tired.
I'm tired. Sorry if I was impatient to end the episode.
I was kind of impatient because I was tired.
Yeah, I was good.
I get impatient near the end because my room gets really hot from having the fan off. Be natural. You have to sign off first.
Oh yeah, I'm be natural.
I'm better.
Mustard.
I'm stir. Joke time!
Okay.
Joke time! Joke
Okay,
time!
joke
Joke time!
time.
Joke! Yeah, joke
joke
time! Joke.
Hey, Mustard, it's joke time, but you don't have to punch me in the face every time you say it.
Stir did that. That was Stir.
What?
Sometimes I can't tell them apart.
Joke time. Joke time. Open up the joke book and see what's inside.
It's a Blue's Clues reference. For all you Blue's Clues, what's the word I'm thinking of? Aficionados.
What?
It's like it's a 5-syllable word that means fan or like a person who knows something about something.
Okay, here we go. What is a ruler's favorite candy?
Smarties.
Like,
A ruler. There's Snickers. There is Butterfingers. There's
I think this is the hardest joke so far because I don't even get it. Well,
I mean, I think
a ruler. Inch
Candy.
centimeters.
They
Inch
don't have these.
centimeters.
Sixlets? Is it sixlets?
No.
Oh.
Foot.
Oh, fruit by the
measure-
foot?
I'll
Measure.
give you a hint. It's not an actual candy name.
What?
And I would argue that this isn't even a candy.
Lollipop?
Chocolate measurement stick
Baklava.
You're close with that, actually.
with baklava?
No, with chocolate measurement sticks.
Oh, with chocolate measurement sticks.
No, you're close.
Freaking chocolate cans. Chocolate candy.
Globules. Brown
No.
globules.
Candy coated inch flakes.
Inch flakes? That sounds gross. No, chocolate coated measurement sticks is very close. You just have to chop off some words and change some stuff.
Chocolate coated
No.
Chocolate rulers.
No.
Is it chocolate?
No.
Is it coated?
Chocolate sticks.
No.
Those Pocky things.
Is it measurement stick related?
Yeah.
So it's something
Cupid's
measurement
chocolate
stick.
Cubits.
It is not something measurement stick. No.
Is it measurement stick something?
It's chocolate something.
Do you want me to give the answer?
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta figure it out.
No.
Can I give the answer?
Sure.
Yes.
It's just measurements.
Mint.
Mints.
Oh.
Mints.
Man, I should
No
have.
chocolate in there at all.
Well, yeah, just it was close with chocolate covered measurement sticks because it has the literal answer in it. Measurements.
That makes sense. That's a joke.
I don't consider mints candy though.
I don't either.
Yeah, they're candy. I mean, breath mints aren't candy, but it doesn't say that. It's just mints.
Yeah, that's just what I imagine.
Yeah, I don't usually like when I hear mint, I usually immediately think of like breath mints, but that's just me.
But these are measurements, the mints that you measure with.
That'd be a fun candy. They should have more candy that you can play with, like those like Lego, those like candy Legos. I love those.
Necklaces that you wear, and then you get this.
Well, those are kind of gross. You have like spittle over your neck, but
Yeah, it is.
that's like just edible. I think edible clothing is a bad idea generally.
Ugh. Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first time none of us guessed the joke. I guess. Sorry if my hints weren't good, but
Well, the
Yeah,
joke
your
was
hints were bad. I thought it was chocolate related.
I said it wasn't chocolate.
No, you did?
yeah, he did.
I think that was when I was talking over you.
Never mind.
Anyway, podcast over.
Bye.
Every time I thought, well, I've seen it all, the rainforest would answer, kid, you haven't seen anything. Take a look at this bird. Take a look at that flower. Get a load of this creature. Little human boy, I have more to show you than you could see in 10 lifetimes. Okay, Rachel said. I take it back. I don't want to pave over the rainforest. I don't care if it's dangerous and deadly or if it's trying to kill us. The rainforest is cool if you're a jaguar.
Yo, so there's a website called the Animorphs Podcast Directory, and it's like animorphspodcasts.com. It just has like a bunch of Animorphs podcasts on it. So I messaged the guy who owns it. He was like, hey, can you put a podcast on it? And he was like, yeah, but in return, could you mention my website on your podcast? And I was like, yeah, I can. Yeah, probably. I can. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, if you want to listen to other Animorphs podcasts, that's there. And it's really, I think it's actually really cool because like, there's a lot of Animorphs podcasts, man. But don't stop listening to ours. Ours is really cool, I think. I've a funny story about the website actually. I don't know if this was in the pilot episode, but I remember like when we were trying to figure out a name for the podcast, I googled Animorphs podcast, and it's like the first thing that comes up. And like we're trying to come up with names, and like every name that Be Natural came up with was like already a podcast name. Like she thought of like The Sharing and like Andalite Bandits were both names she thought of, and then we looked up and oh, they already exist. So I thought of an Animorphs Book Club podcast because like I didn't want to say the Animorphs Book Club podcast because I was like, there's like a bunch of them already. So you know, it's what it is, man. It's an Animorphs Book Club podcast. And another reason why I like the name so much is because I went to this Animorphs podcast directory and I scrolled through the list. I was like, hey, this list looks like it's in alphabetical order. So if our name is an Animorphs Book Club podcast, it would be at the top because the other A's were like Andalite or like Animorph, and like an Animorph, that's like sooner. So that was actually like one of the reasons that the name is what it is. But then I emailed the guy and he was like, okay, yep, so yours is going to be on top because it's the newest one and that's how it works. I was like, what? And like, you go to like the bottom, like 20 or something. It's definitely alphabetical order. Like, so I was like, what the heck? We're on top now? But like, I kind of like that now because, I mean, it definitely makes sense to show the newest ones because it's like the ones that are currently updating. And man, that's a lot. Like even like after I send mine, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new ones. And also the Animorphs Book Club podcast isn't on there, that other podcast. So like they should get on that. But I'm like scrolling through this and I'm like, man, I like our icon for this podcast. It's like I don't know if I think I mentioned it in the pilot episode of the podcast, but like what the icon is, it's not supposed to represent anything Animorphs, of course, because like look at it, it's not. Because you know, I didn't know what Animorphs was, and like I had been trying to learn how to make things in Blender, and I just like this is like just the first thing I made, and I think the 3D model that has nothing to do with Animorphs kind of stands out. I think among these other ones, and it's like gray. Because all of these are like blue with like the Animorphs logo or like an Andalite or like something morphing or like a picture of 2 people with the name of the podcast next to it or like a York or something. I don't know. Or like lots of blue cubes too. And then we just have this thing. Pretty happy with it still. Like that has nothing to do with Animorphs. I don't know why I'm talking for so long. Bye.
Hey man, I sent you a text. Could you like send me a recording of you reading it out? If not, it's okay. I'm not sure if I want to include it anyway or like who I want saying it, but like, you know, since dinner's back, you could send that to me. Thanks.
Shout out to the Animorphs Podcast Directory for putting in the Animorphs Book Club podcast on their website, animorphspodcast.com.
Hey, thanks. I got the audio. But I was like putting together the episode, and like I listened to it, and do you think you could like send it again, but like make sure that it's clear that you're saying Animorphs podcasts and not like Animorph podcast or Animorphs podcast or Animorph podcasts. Like just make sure people can tell that it's animorphspodcasts.com. I guess it's not a huge deal because like I don't know. Like you can just find it with a Google search, but like it's and again, like I don't know if I need this, but anyway, thanks.
Shout out to the Animorphs podcast directory for putting an Animorphs Book Club podcast on their website, animorphspodcasts.com.